So
minutes?
moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you. I don't really have a specific report today. I've been rather busy with other things, but I will say that I can't wait till we get back in person so that I can see everyone's faces besides on Zoom. I think that we're doing a wonderful job via Zoom, but it's nothing like seeing people in person and having an earnest debate, etc. So I'm looking forward to that time. So that's it for today. So fiscal officer's report.
You have a lot of paper from me, or a lot of reports from me, but I'll just highlight some of my key financial points. We had, I mean, I don't know, I've been very busy with some personal stuff. So thank you for allowing me affording me the time off to take care of some personal items that I have to take care of. In my key financial points, most of the stuff is below the supplemental appropriations are for donations from various people who give us money and to buy books and that sort of stuff. There is a additional supplemental appropriation for office supplies because we have burned through what we appropriated for office supplies very quickly. A lot of the PPE that was needed to reopen the buildings and make it safe for staff to return to work has came out of that account number, that 52110. So that's where a lot of the expenses went to buy additional bins and plexiglass and hand sanitizer and masks and all of that stuff. So that is an additional $10,000. Joe O'Rourke has noticed that he's the manager of the collection. He noticed that the e-book collection was having a high demand and there were long waiting lists. So he had asked that we moved some additional funds there so that they could order some additional e-books for the e-book collection to sort of reduce the wait lines for patrons to get e-books because there's a high demand right now. And you see there's a $7,000 additional supplemental appropriation for unemployment insurance. I fought that tooth and nail. There was employees who had resigned from their positions with us in the last 12 months. And with the unemployment insurance, we are reimbursing employers, so we don't have insurance. We just pay claims as they come due. These people had left us, so I thought they were good, but when they look back and they filed their claims for their new employer, who was so much better than us, they got laid off by them. And so now they're filing for unemployment insurance and I'm having to pay. And I'm still a bit bitter about it. Yep. And I don't know that I will, I'm trying to let it go. I am trying to let it go. So I'm trying. So there's that. I also have a fund transfer. I'm moving money from the general fund to the permanent improvement fund, about $2 million, so that, not about $2 million, $2 million, to start tracking the expenses that we're having that come in for the new branch at Home and Stites Road. And so these two other additional supplemental appropriations these are for to expend the money out of that fund once it's established. So we had the permanent improvement fund, this fund number 450, when we built the Orange branch. And so when we sold the notes for the Orange branch to fund that building, we deposited all the money into the fund 450, and that's where we tracked the money until it was all gone, and then the fund is at zero, and then we're done with it. So that's what those appropriations are for, and the fund transfers. And I'd be happy to take any questions about any of my June or July reports or anything else you have at this time.
I guess you did such a marvelous job. There's no questions.
Okay,
But
good.
we can always come back if some questions arise later on. So I need a motion to approve the card compliance report, which is attachment number 08.
I do have a question
Well,
on that. Oh, you need a motion first?
And a
So
second
moved.
session. And then a second?
Second.
Okay, now we can have the discussion.
Was the second, was that Holly?
Nina.
Was the
Holly.
second? Oh, thank you.
This has probably been asked before, so I apologize, but how exactly do you issue a credit card for a bookmobile or a van?
The bank let us do that early on. I mean, like we've had the one for the vans and the bookmobile since I started in 2008. And they have not asked us to put a name on it. All the other cards have to have a name on it. But for some reason, the First Commonwealth Bank will allow us to have a credit card for the bookmobile and the vans.
So I suppose that they've got a record of who can sign for the bookmobile account?
Yes.
Okay.
But mostly they just use it at the gas pump. So they're just going and putting fuel into the bookmobile and the vans. So that's all they use it for. They're not using it for anything else. That is restricted for fuel for those 2 vehicles or 3 vehicles.
Well, and I also noticed too, we have similar setups at our church with multiple employees having different credit cards, and looks like you've set the limits pretty much exactly at what you would expect those vehicles to use fuel wise in a month, right? I mean, $350, you can't steal too much.
Right. I don't expect our staff to be stealing stuff. So
No, I was more concerned with the card getting stolen or lost. Yeah. And I'm not sure I've ever seen a credit card issued to something other than a person, but never mind. You answered the question.
thank you.
Any other questions? All those in favor of approving the credit card compliance report?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Now, I need a motion to approve the June and July financial reports, invoices, and investments, which was items 5A and B.
I move.
Second?
Second.
Thanks. Any discussion? Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Last motion, well, not the last motion, but to approve the supplemental appropriations for June and July. Need a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And you notice at this meeting, I'm doing it a little different because we don't have anything that's really, everything is critically important, but just a general motion and a general approval is different than what we've done in the past. And so I'm trying to make sure that we use our time wisely. If anyone wants to go back to the individual roll call for each motion and things like that, just please let me know outside of this current meeting. Okay. Now we need a motion to approve the $2 million general fund transfer.
So moved. Second.
Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And then we need to have a motion to approve with gratitude the donation of Becky Sutherland Cornett, and I'm assuming it's for the teens.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Mr. Needham?
Thank you,
Oh,
Michael.
wait a minute, before George speaks, I want to add another point of clarity. When we start talking about, there's two positions that are on the agenda today, and those two positions in essence have been approved previously. We're just going to bring the board back up to date on them and then make the motions official. And so because of the COVID virus, we sort of we didn't lose track of them. They were just held until today, and now we're in a position where we really need to fill these positions. I didn't mean to interrupt you, George.
That's all right. Thank you, Michael. I've just got a couple of points other than what was in my written report. The first is I just got a note from the Ohio Library Council that they are going to do their trustee dinners this fall online. And so in fact, it won't be dinner, but they'll have like a 1-hour briefing. These will be an opportunity to hear what's going on with the Ohio Library Council and the State House, because we'll be going into our renewal of the Public Library Fund next spring. So we'll be talking about that. They will have legislators on each of the events to talk about what's going to happen after the general election when they have any good ideas on that. I will send you the dates. The one for Central South West Ohio is September 3rd from 6 to 7 p.m. And I will send this out tomorrow or Thursday at the latest. So just let me know if you want to register for that. We can get you, we'll go ahead and get you registered for the event. If you can't make those, there are also ones on September 10th for Northwest Ohio, September 17th for North and Northeast Ohio, and October 1st for Southeast Ohio. So I will, like I said, I'll send you that out. Don't worry about getting the dates and everything. That's
You know, with Grubhub, they can always send the dinner to us.
That's right.
But this way you can have whatever you want. You don't have to worry about having, rubber chicken or anything.
True.
So just before this meeting, I was in a webinar, as was Julie. I'm not sure if Angela was in on it or not. Molly was in on it.
I was there. I was there because we're going to spend money.
Right.
So I was there. And I saw, oh, you're going to need a compliance person. So,
Right. Yeah.
Yeah,
The state
I was there.
The State Controlling Board just released $18.4 million from the Coronavirus Relief Act for public libraries in Ohio. And what that works out to is $25,000 for each library location in the state. So we will be qualified for $100,000. What that money needs to be used for is some of the things you just approved the supplementals for. And that is for coronavirus, personal protective equipment, and other equipment that we need to buy in order to stay open and provide service during the pandemic. We can use it to reimburse expenses that were already paid, as long as they fall into this group, or for other things that we would like to do that we didn't have budgeted in the 2020 budget going forward. So we can use it for, as I said, the PPE. We can use it to do things like replacing faucets with touchless faucets. We can use it for disinfection of public areas when we're paying for heavier duty cleaning. We can actually use that money for that. We can use it for the plexiglass barriers that we bought, or the things that we needed to buy for doing remote and curbside services like bags, things of that nature, additional hotspots. We just bought a wide area, what they call a MoFi unit for the bookmobile, so that we can park it over at places like the London Town Apartments, so the kids can get access to high-speed internet without actually having to come onto the bookmobile. So we'll be able to put those in as reimbursements. We may also be able to do replacement doors for Orange, so that we have touchless doors over there. We've had nothing but problems with the doors at Orange for a number of years. This would we could use that to pay for that, because that would be touchless and would allow us to move forward with that. So it's a very simple grant process. We will be putting in the application immediately. They've been turning them around within a week. So at our next board meeting, Angela and I have not had a chance to discuss this, obviously, since we were just in a webinar until about 4:45. But we may have to come back to you in August or in September and have a fund that we can receive this into, so that we can actually reimburse. but we have until December 30th to actually spend the money, or at least get it encumbered and get it into the process for payment. So that's was very good news. Do you have any questions on that?
So there has to be a report that goes to whoever so they know that we did use the money for what it's been allowed for. And where's the money coming from?
It's coming from the $2.4 trillion Corona.
The CARES Act?
CARES Act, yes.
Oh, I didn't know that they added the libraries to that.
It's actually part of local government relief, is where it's
Because I didn't think local government could handle it.
So that we do it. We'll have to do an interim report in October that'll cover monies that were spent between March 1st and September 30th, and then a final report that's due December 30th. So that is basically the reporting that's required for it. We also have a smaller grant that we applied for. I'm not sure we will get that one yet. We haven't heard back. It was a $3,000 grant for the library system, which again had to be used to reimburse for PPE and things like that. I put the HR position back on here because what we've discovered over the last couple of months is HR has become even more complicated. It's even more difficult than it's been. And so I'd like to get that process started so that we could hire the HR person. I know that back when at the April board meeting, I said that we would put in a hiring freeze, but we've discovered that between the Families First Coronavirus Response Act and other issues that have come up, we really need somebody who's an expert in this area. Holly has offered to allow us to have our position description that we started with. She's going to have her own HR counsel, her advisors within the chamber take a look at it and give us updates on that so that we can get that moving. So that back before COVID hit, we'd already talked about that, and I'd like to move forward with that. And so it was in the budget for 2020. So I don't know that it actually needs to be approved again. But I did want to bring that because it is an exception to the hiring freeze that we talked about back in April. So as will be the fiscal specialist position that Angela's going to talk about under new business. So unless I hear objection to this, but with 100 people on staff now and more coming probably at the end of next year when we start to get ready to gear up the new library, we really need to professionalize our HR function. Right now, I'm doing part of it, Angela's doing part of it, Sam's doing part of it, Molly's doing part of it, Julie's doing part of it, and it really needs professionalism at this point.
So George, I have one question. Because of the coronavirus, has anything changed in the core responsibilities of a human resource person, or is the core basically the same as it's always been?
I think the core is the same as it's always been, but there are new laws and new variations on old laws, like the Family and Medical Leave Act, that require people who have expertise in this area.
Okay, so since the coronavirus is fairly new, is our expectation that the human resource person that comes in will have expertise in this area?
I don't know how much specific expertise they'll have in this area, but they will be. They'll have access to and ability to use the resources that are out there to help with personnel issues. They'll be able to interface better with Eric Penko, who's our attorney and who has been helping me on this and has given me enormous amounts of help. But we're only one of his clients within the government. So, but I don't think, and this is so new that nobody's going to have 3 years of experience in this area because we don't have 3 years of experience as a world. But they will know how to address it. It's sort of like doctors don't have training in COVID right now either, but they have experience with other things that allow them to adapt to that.
Okay, thank you.
Michael,
Yeah. Who had a question?
I did, but I thought someone else spoke too.
Yeah, well, but go ahead, Holly. Yeah.
George, you are not considering this an entry-level position for anyone, are you?
No, this is,
Okay.
we want to get somebody who's got experience in HR. We're offering at the manager level, which would be the same level that that the other managers here are at. So it's a pretty good salary, and of course the benefits that we offer. So
With 100 employees, that's certainly someone with quite a bit of experience. Are job descriptions for every position within the system up to date?
they are under constant review, and I think they're pretty well up to date. Molly's been working for the last, and again, before COVID hit, she was spending more time on this, but working on updating the individual job descriptions, making sure that we've got things up to date in our files. She's been working with Sam, who maintains a lot of the payroll files and the personnel files to keep them up to date. I mean, it's always good to have another person, especially somebody with this kind of expertise, to review them and keep them constantly up to date. But we do have job descriptions for every position within the library. And that's, everybody from the facilities people to the shelvers to me and everybody across the board.
And reviews are up to date?
Yep, we did reviews at the end of last year. We do those generally in December for the most of the staff, and then the administrative team gets reviewed in January. So yeah, they were up to date through the end of last year.
Thank you.
Scott, did you have a question? I thought you jumped in when Michael was. Oh, okay, sorry.
Okay, so are there any other questions for George regarding the HR position? Well, if hearing none, George, the board supports your decision to go out and hire an HR person. And if you have any issues or you need any other information from the board, just please let me know. Otherwise, you're approved.
Well, I'll get in touch with Holly to set up some time or you just want to like put it out on email or something and have them take a look at it and get back to me. Also, I would like to have the HR committee that Holly chairs get together, because we have a few other policy things and some other position descriptions that are more library specific that we had talked about in the previous budget. I'd like to take those and talk about those with her and bring it back in.
Just get a hold of me.
Yeah, I'll send you an email after this meeting. We can figure out a time we can get together.
And I know that this person is hired by you and answers to you, but if you'd like, to see how that person feels to someone else, I'm more than happy to sit in on an interview with you when you narrow it down, get a feel for. Sometimes you don't see. I work with HR people all the time, so sometimes I might know a question to the vernacular. I don't know. But
we've got, I'm also really pleased because we've got a couple of personnel people with a lot of experience at the Westerville and the Worthington libraries who've been doing this for a long time, who've also been happy to take a look at our job description and everything. So
good.
We've got some help on that. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have anything else to report, Mr. Needham?
I don't believe so. No, thank you.
Okay, you're welcome.
One question, George. Have we gotten any feedback on our mask policy from library patrons?
Right after the board acted, of course, the governor moved the next day and made the statewide mandate. So we have not really had any hassles. I mean, we have the occasional person who's wearing it like a chin strap or something. If we just, a gentle, if you could pull that up, please, it seems to be working pretty well. We've not had any major issues at all. Nobody, no people trying to make a statement or anything like that here at this point.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you, George.
Thank you.
Ms. Cowan, Friends of the Library report. Karen?
Thank you, Mr. Butler. I
You're
really
welcome.
appreciate it. And as I think about my library report, first I apologize for not writing one, but as of before yesterday, I didn't have anything to write. Today I have something to tell you. We are going to bring in Fiona Davis on a virtual author visit sometime in October. And she has a new book out called Lions of Fifth Avenue, and she has written 4 other books that are supposed to be really good. So you will be getting more information about her coming. We'll probably have a small charge of like $5 just to make sure that we don't get a lot of people signing up and nobody shows up. But we're really excited, and we're going to meet with Nicole to talk about maybe doing some more of this next year and organizing and cooperating with what Nicole's got as far as author visits also. So we're really excited that she's suggested, or that she's said that she will come talk with us. And we hope that you all join us for the Fiona Davis author visit. We have a vendor who called us who will pay us by the box for books once we start collecting books. And so we're going to have a talk with him and look at the pros and cons of that versus book sales versus whatever else we're doing to see how we want to run next year. We're going to have a retreat in September to talk about next year. And it's not a retreat, it's a brainstorming session to come up with some ideas on some things to do. And I think the scavenger hunt is coming back. We just haven't decided when. And I think that's all. Any questions, please? Okay.
Okay, thanks, Karen.
Thank you.
The next agenda item is the Liberty Township Building Committee. And if any of the other team members want to start off, they're more than welcome.
Go right ahead, Michael.
Okay, well, we met with the architect, and the community had some questions regarding the design of the building. And so we went over those specifics, and the committee asked a lot of questions. And at the end of the day, we were very supportive of the changes. So that part's been done. We're going to be meeting with the POW commissioners August the 20th. Is that the date?
Yeah, Thursday, yeah. It's an informal meeting with the zoning people, just to get a kind of a sense of how they feel about the design as it stands right now.
And I do believe that we're going to probably be breaking ground in probably the September timeframe or sooner.
Probably not sooner, because we haven't actually set the closing yet. We've got all the documentation is with the title company. We're just waiting for them to get back to us to set a closing time. Then we will organize that through, because I believe Michael and Sina have to sign the documents. I believe it's written in state law that the board chair and secretary have to sign on the closing document. So we will schedule it around you guys' schedule when the title company's ready.
And the process that we're using for the Powell Library has been simply outstanding, in my opinion. The architects have been right on board with everything. They've kept us informed. We've had good conversation and a lot of good questions from Holly and Brenda. And so I feel very comfortable with where we're at in regards to the recommendations, the changes. The only thing left now is to transfer the resources and break ground. Brenda, Holly, do you have any additional questions?
Oh, it'll be fun to share with the rest of the board the design of the building and all the different colors that we're using out front and all the different designs. And, it's very eclectic, and it's got, come on, guys, that's a joke. George, you're nodding. It's not at all.
I was wondering where the heck you were going with that, Holly.
But you were agreeing with me. I wasn't gonna let it go too far. No, it's a classic design. It's very appealing. It's earth tones. It'll fit in with the neighborhood. So I'm anxious to share that design with the rest of the board.
Yeah,
I doubt Powell's gonna have any issues with it.
right. I don't think so at all, and it really is aesthetically beautiful. And I just can't wait to be the first one to go in there and borrow a book. Brenda, did you have anything to add?
No, nothing to add. Thanks.
Okay, wonderful.
Oh, wait a minute. We do have something to add.
Okay.
The new consultant that we're going to be engaging.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, it's the
Commissioning agent.
Commissioning agent.
Commissioning agent, yes.
Right. Yeah, the committee agreed with Jeffrey Sensen's recommendation, the architect's recommendation to do a commissioning agent to review the plans for the mechanical, electrical, and plumbing technical drawings as sort of a third set of eyes on the plans to ensure that everything is done according to Hoyle, and that person will not only review the plans, but will be on site regularly while those things are being installed to ensure that the work is done according to the technical specifications that are laid out. And so that was it's not a huge expense, but it's like buying insurance basically.
All right.
The expense is less than what we'd have to bid out, so it's less than $50,000.
It-
He was saying it'd be about 40 probably.
Yeah, it's a
Based on
really, it sounds like a really good, and you know, I was really against the, what was the other one that I did?
The owner's agent, yeah.
The owner's agent, really opposed to that. This is not the same as the owner's agent, and this is a real good bang for our buck here. It's belt and suspenders, but a really good value. So I think for this part, and again, it's like I said at the meeting, Julie will sleep better knowing that all the buttons are in the right place.
Yeah, that's very true.
Yeah, the water's going the right direction through the pipes,
Right,
and
down,
the cold
not
is
up.
going through the
Yeah,
cold
right.
pipes, and hot is going through the hot pipes.
Okay, well, wonderful. That's good
Karen, do you have a
conversation.
question? Then you have to unmute.
I noticed that. Do you want like gold pens or something when you sign at the closing so that you can distribute those pens to everybody on the board and all of us?
I hadn't thought about that. I just,
Just asking.
I want to do that. I'd like to do at least a virtual groundbreaking though, when we actually schedule something so that we can, you know, get some
Definitely.
publicity and everything. Maybe have the board there, you know, 6 feet apart with their shovels and everything.
Well, I think we need to do that in person, even though it will mean masking and distancing to the extent that we can. I think it's important that we hold a groundbreaking.
I agree with you, Holly, 100%, because it would also be nice that if the community wanted to come by and see the groundbreaking, and as long as they practice social distancing, I think it would be good for the community.
Well, and what we've learned is that there's me mask, you mask, and distancing. And if one of those is missing, it is not instant death. It's just the three are better than. So if they're 4 feet apart at the groundbreaking and everybody's masked, I don't think we need to worry about.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to go out and measure them. I just think that they'll do the right thing when it comes to the distancing part. But I do agree with you 100%. I think that doing it in person would probably mean a lot to that community.
Absolutely.
We might get the Powell and Parks people. They could lay out a grid of 6 foot squares using the baseball things that they used to
Sure.
do.
Sure. Okay.
You could also use hula hoops around everybody.
There you go.
There you go.
Well, good. Anybody calling in? Okay. The next thing, I don't have any unfinished business. Brad, for your edification, I meet with George every Monday to talk about various board issues. So if there's something that you feel that you want, that's a board related issue that you want to talk to me about, feel free to call me at any time. And then if it's critical, I'll relay it to George and make sure that we get back to you in a timely response. We generally haven't had any problems so far, but we just want to make sure that we touch base since we're not meeting in person these days. So that's just a quick update on how we work in between the board meetings. And Angela, new business?
Yeah, I wanted to talk about my position, the fiscal specialist. The reason, part of the justification of this is it's not payroll or HR. It is that the finance department has grown significantly since I was there in 2006. And then there was 2 people there at that time doing the job. Then there's still 2 people there doing the job right now in 2020. And just because we can do it doesn't mean that we should continue to put things off and just do the things that are most pressing right away and then catch up when we finally get a breather or a moment or come in and work additional time to get things done. And so I just wanted to tell you where we were in 2006 and paint this picture of where we are in 2020 or 2019, where I have a full year, and the things that in finance, not just the additional 60 employees that I'm paying and maintaining the records for. This is just the finance part. So in 2006, we had the LLGSF, which is now the PLF fund, and that was about $2 million. And that was our sole revenue. And we had we had bond. We had a bond that we had issued to renovate the Delaware branch that some of you are in, and also to build the Powell branch and the Ostrander branch. And so we were collecting a bond through the county to do the renovations at Delaware and to build the Ostrander and Powell branches. So that was what was happening in 2006. We had expenses of about $2,200,000. So we were spending everything we got. They were squirreling away money as they could. But that's about how we were in 2006. Fast forward into 2019, the general fund, we're collecting through the PLF and the property tax. Our revenues are about $8,200,000. So a significant increase in the amount of revenue that are coming in. And along with those revenues, of course, there's additional record keeping that is necessary to keep track of all those funds. The local tax levy, we're getting from 5 different counties. So I'm tracking where the county distribution comes in. Also, we're getting the rollbacks from the state of Ohio. So every time I'm getting money from a county, I'm also getting money from the state of Ohio for the rollback portion. And we are spending, well, last year we spent $14 million because we retired the notes that we had issued for the Orange Branch. So that was $6 million. So you've got to say that that's an $8 million spend for last year. And so that is a lot of money and a lot of checks that have to be issued to spend $8 million in a year. The changes fundamentally that happened since 2006, we have the local tax levy with the 5 counties. We have retired the bond that we had issued for the Delaware branch and Powell and Ostrander. We issued notes for the Orange branch and retired them. We constructed the Orange branch and we had all the retainage documents and all of that stuff that happened with the Orange branch construction. We've had investments to set aside money to retire the notes. So I'm setting aside money, continue to set aside money. And that's what we're going to use to build this new location. We also have records retention and the compliance that's associated with that with the Ohio history connection. We have the credit card legislation. So we have to report to the board how many credit cards we have and what's the limits and any kind of rewards we get. So there's all this additional legislation that also has to be tracked to stay in compliance with the legislation that's coming down from the Auditor of State's office and through the governor's office. There's also, we have to track our deposits from the branches. So we're getting blue bags and from the branches for their patron fees. And we have to provide that listing of when the deposits come in and when they're deposited with the bank to provide that to the Auditor of State's office when they come for our audit every 2 years. And then also we have the then and now statement. So you get that in your board packet. And this is for expenses that the purchase order was not issued before the expense was incurred. And so the money was available then and it is available now. So you're getting that and the Auditor of State wants that. So there's a lot of additional reporting and compliance to track $8 million that there wasn't when there was only $2 million and we were only getting the public library fund. So it's still 2 people full-time doing all the work. But if anything, this personally, this leave that I've had to take to care for my family has made me realize that we really need more help in the finance office. And then, of course, Samantha is also looking to add to her family, and so she will be wanting to take leave. And there's no reason that that should not be available for her also. So I'm asking for this full-time fiscal specialist to be hired so that we can begin training this person. So they're not going to come in here day one knowing exactly what to do for us. And we want to train them to have them work exactly how fits best for the library. So I'm asking for this full-time person to be hired so that we can begin training, so that we don't end up with a short staff with just one person. So that's why I'm looking to do this now.
Okay, thanks, Angela.
Okay.
Has Sina, you've been working very closely with Angela as being the chair of the Finance Committee. Do you have anything to add?
I don't believe so. She was pretty thorough. Just the thing that for me is the compliance and the new policies and rules, and that takes a lot of time to make sure you're following those things, and so they're busy.
I have a couple of things. Travel is significant too. There's so much more travel than there has been, isn't there, Angela? And is that part of, well, so have you determined what you've already decided what duties you want this person to perform? And is this an entry-level position? And Samantha, is that an official announcement?
My husband and I are adopting, and we are home study approved. So yes, I'm not pregnant. I don't want to start rumors.
Congratulations.
But we're going to be adopting, and I could get a call anytime. It could be 2 weeks, 2 years. I don't know. So yes, that is an announcement. Thank you.
This person is going to report directly to Sam and dotted line to me. I train Sam, so she knows how the things work at the library and the things we do. But I want to be able to give her more responsibility. And at this time, I can't give her any more because I've already buried her in work. And I don't feel right not giving her some room to transfer some of the work that she's currently doing to someone else and train them, and so that I can train her on some additional things that I'm doing. And yes, there is travel. This year, no travel, but there's still a lot of this kind of Zoom meeting stuff. So,
you know, Angela, your outline of what you want to do with the new position, as well as growing Sam, makes all the sense in the world, especially as the library is growing as well. And the community in and of itself is getting larger. So I think that what you're doing is proper. Are there any other questions from any of the other board members? But since we have,
Angela, how do you do payroll internally, or do you use a third party?
we do payroll internally right now. We're looking at outsourcing, but we haven't got, well, we started down that road, and then, you know, things kind of went sideways for everybody. And so that kind of got pushed back. Honestly, it just did. And so we are going to continue to pursue that. I would love to have payroll outsourced by the end of the year. But I don't know that that's going to happen. I would like to have it happen. So then I don't have to do all that reporting for the end of year next January. But I'm not certain that it's a possibility right now. I don't want to just because every one of the staff is going to have to learn a new payroll system, how to input their hours and stuff. And everybody has gone through a lot already this year for 2020, and I don't know that I want to burden all the other staff with one more thing, how to track their hours. So there's a training there's a selection and then there's the training of the staff. So
Sure. I
I'm
just
also
didn't,
concerned about them.
I didn't know if you could maintain compliance with a third-party payroll processor, but we recently took that journey in the last few years of outsourcing payroll. Our ministry has about 50 employees, and it has been amazing.
Yep, it is. You
Can
will
I ask
wonder
who you
why.
work with?
Yeah.
Paychecks.
Yeah,
We have
paycheck.
some wonderful local people, and you will be, Angela, you'll wonder why you didn't do it ages ago. And we've got some local, I know I gave you some references
Right.
locally who do as good a job as the national, but they're in our backyard. They are library users who are very professional. But you'll wonder why you didn't do it years ago.
Just staying up on the new laws and the tax code changes is worth its weight in gold.
Right.
Yeah. That's correct.
That's all I have.
Thank
Okay.
you both for you. I appreciate it. Yes. Yeah.
Are there any other questions? Well, since we previously discussed this, Angela, you have our approval to move forward on hiring.
All right. Thank you. I really do appreciate it.
You're more than welcome. Nicole, is there any public participation?
People cannot express, I think, how much some feel-good news is like great for their souls right now. So Karen's Fiona Davis announcement for the Friends has garnered a lot of excitement. And Sam's adoption announcement has also garnered a lot of excitement too. So I think this was the feel-good meeting that we all needed today.
Absolutely, absolutely. Is there anything that anyone wants to say that they didn't get an opportunity to say?
Just welcome to Brad.
Yeah.
Welcome aboard.
We all welcome, right? Okay.
And Angela, your husband's doing well?
Yes, he is. Yes, he is. Thank you for asking.
Wow.
Thank
Good.
you. It
Good.
is a miracle. It is honestly a miracle. CPR works. If you haven't taken CPR recently, I'm encouraging everyone to do it because it makes all the difference in the world.
Oh.
Yeah, well, I'm CPR certified. I don't want to ever have to use it, but I'm
But
certified.
you never know when you're going to have to.
Yeah,
You never know.
Right. You're right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
an experience.
Yeah.
Okay, well, having had the wonderful discussions and a really wonderful meeting, Brad, once again, from all of the board members, and it's already been said, welcome. We're looking forward to having you on the board for the next several years.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
I just wanted to say that Brad switched over to the DelawareLibrary.org email with absolutely no problem.
Oh,
I was just
Okay,
really
fine,
impressed. Thank you.
Michael, we should have ended this meeting 1 minute earlier.
I won't add to that, but I
now this,
also am on my very first Zoom call ever and created new
Seriously?
issues.
well,
This is your first Zoom call? Well, Gmail is where the devil lives, I'm just saying.
well, Brad, now you're bragging. Yeah, before
Yeah.
that, we were going to give you credit. Now you're bragging.
No, we
No, I would have been bragging if I had elaborated that I'm a CPA. I've got my real estate license.
Okay.
All right. Well, I need, unless there's any other discussion, I really like to end meetings on a positive note. So do we have a motion to adjourn?
Brad?
Brad?
Sure.
Sure? Sure?
Second.
Sure.
We had a second?
Scott.
Well, okay. Well, everyone have a wonderful rest of your day, and we'll
See
see
you in
you next
September.
month or sooner. Thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
this wonderful
Thank you
meeting.
all very much.
Bye.
Thank you.